I would love for you to shed a little light on a bit of your story as well.
So I'll tell you, Ranveer, I started business at a very young age. I started business when I was 16, 17 at that age. But life's not been a bed of roses. But also, I can't tell you life has been struggle. Struggle for me is someone who emotionally struggling, not missing material stuff. Say, for example, God forbid, a loss of a child. That is called for me mental struggle. Or somebody who has to work in the sun all day long and they're not doing it by hobby, they're doing it because of necessity. That is struggle. Or you look at olden times when they didn't have the new machineries to create a building and there would be rain, cold, be cementing. That is struggle. So for me, my life, I mean, for a lot of people, it would be considered struggle. For me, it wasn't. So I'll tell you, I was born in Liberia, Africa.
Wow.
My grandfather was pretty solid. We had a textile business. He created a whole empire. Our empire was called Indiano Sai.
Out of Liberia.
Out of Liberia. I used to go in the cycle. I still remember my mom, my dad telling me stories. He used to buy a can of green peas, eat half for lunch, half for dinner. Basically the struggle of every Sindhi when they went out after what happened in Pakistan. 88 I was born. 89 the coup took place. So there was a civil war. And we all had to leave overnight, leaving your houses and everything. And we went to Spain.
Tiny side note, there is an intense documentary on YouTube. It's by Vice. It's called Cannibal Warlords of Liberia. I highly recommend that to everyone to just understand what Liberia is in the modern day. So I can't imagine what your family went through.
So it was a struggle at that time, you could say. Then we went to Spain. We went to Spain. They all started from scratch. I was studying in a British school that time. We went to the Canary Islands, Las Palmas.
Oh, wow.
So you have Spain and then you have the 7 islands, which is Fuerteventura, Tenerife, Gran Canaria. We were over there. Business was good. They started picking up.
While you were growing up, did you understand that you're a brown guy?
Yeah, I did, but I never felt that in my schools. See, I was, you could say, lucky enough to study in private schools. So it was a mixture of culture. After that, my dad had his own financial trouble. We left everything and we went to South America. So I was 4 or 5 years in Paraguay, Brazil.
You're actually a global citizen.
Well, I could say I've been in a lot of continents and I've studied a lot of continents. From Paraguay, Brazil, when my dad went to Nigeria, we came to India for a year to adapt. So that's when I studied in Hutchings. From an American school, now I came into an ICSC board. From a mistaken ICSC, they call it. And it was a great experience coming to India. There is where I learned a lot of independence. See, in Paraguay, it was very secure. You could not go out without your driver. You couldn't just walk around the world.
Was it unsafe?
Very unsafe. I remember there was a football match and Brazil had lost and there was a fight at the petrol station and how people just take out a gun and shoot someone. Like, there was no value for life over there because that's how South America was. Maybe now it's got better. I don't know about it. I haven't been there in a long time. But yeah. In India, I learned independence, taking your cycle, going for your tuitions, freedom. Then after that, I went back to Nigeria. Nigeria, again, the same thing. You can't walk around. You can't do anything. It's straight. You live in a complex where you walk everybody. You'll see all of us Indians walking in the evening around. You had your tennis courts. A lot of luxury. Again, as a college, you had your own personal tennis coach. You had everything you wanted. But you could call it like a golden cage at that point in time. You don't have the freedom. Then suddenly there was a problem with the export of wood. So we had to leave overnight. So when we left overnight, we came to India. That's the time my sister got married in India. And I stayed back in India for 2 years to finish my 12th standard. That was the time I was just in my 11th and 12th. And my parents went back to Spain. When I went back there, I started university. And at university is where I realized they were all teaching me management of money. And after a very long period in our life, we were actually like in a 1-bedroom flat. And I could see the struggle in the family. I could see my dad also had taken up a job, which we never worked for anyone.
After
right?
living all around the world.
All around the world. When I go back, that was the scenario. So I get a scholarship because I've studied in India. My education is quite good. And then I see my dad. I'm like, wait, you also have a job. Why don't I just come and try with you?
Did you think about luxury products at that point?
Yes, that's what motivates me, bro. I wanted the Rolex from then. Went worked for my dad's boss that time, and started selling, broke all the records. And at that
What
time,
were you selling?
Well, we had retail stores. So we had perfume, sunglasses, we had sportswear, we had a whole thing. Like, typical tourist area where the tourists come and you start selling. And that's when I told my dad's boss, I said, listen, I don't want a salary. I want a commission on sale. He said, fine, fair enough. I want a commission on sale. And like that, after 3 years, I managed buying 30% of the company through my commissions. And that's how at 21, I made my first $1 million. And then I thought I was the king of the world. Because
What was your first luxury purchase?
a car, a Mercedes Benz.
Oh, wow.
That's a C200, I remember. That's what I wanted.
And out of like stuff you can wear?
Jewelry.
Yeah?
And
What
I
did you
bought
buy?
my first Riverie. I got my mom her first Riverie. That time, Natural Diamond 20.0 was a big thing. And
How expensive was it that back
I
then?
think it was about $7,000, more or less.
Gotcha.
But God's been kind. Like, made money. Then I went and opened my own business. Plus my Don Juan Padron, who was my first boss, he had cancer. And so he had passed away in 3 months. And plus then getting into the whole family scenario and all that, I went and opened my own, which then I started scaling up. I opened up to 8, made a lot of money in 2 years, got married, built up an empire. But then the island itself went through one trouble, which is a volcano exploded. So flights couldn't fly. So 3 months things were tough. I just opened a big shop in a port, and port rents are high, they're like $40,000 rental. Then I started seeing the ship going down. And I'm a person, for my investors or my banks, I take good care of them. I saw I'm not going to be able to sustain. Sold out my properties, everything, and said I'll start from scratch. But I don't want to start with minus. And I don't believe in holding on like a monkey. I've seen it in our Sindhi life. People just hold on, like, okay, I'll take from here, I'll pull from here. I don't believe in that. If something going down, fall flat. Don't hold on, because nothing's going to change. Or you need a lot of money to change it. And at that time, startup culture was not that much. You just raise funds or go here or do this. Didn't work that way. Took it as a good experience. And then went to Barcelona. And in Barcelona, I started my first restaurants.
Have to slow you down, pause you a bit. Because you spoke about business death right now.
Okay.
And I know then, you've survived post that. You've grown so much post that. This is what I call the strength of the Sindhi mindset. It's a very Sindhi thing, bro. To just figure out how to survive and grow from
Correct.
that point of just staying alive.
Correct.
I've seen this with so many of my Sindhi friends as well.
Wow.
Do you think there's Sindhi genes at play or Sindhi upbringing at play?
Well, I don't know about Sindhi, but the lesson that I most learned and the little bit of science that I learned was survival of the fittest. See, when things come tough, and I would say this is like something for people to actually think about. When you're at the edge, your thought process is much faster than when you're not at the edge, when you're in comfort zone.
Like pressure makes you play the game better.
If again your mind is strong enough, some pressure can collapse people. So I wouldn't say it's for everybody. But if your mind is strong enough, pressure pushes you to the next thing. Like if you notice, even when I'm talking about this, I'm more like, you can notice my body language also changes, because that is the way the mindset is. If you have a strong mind. And if you have a weak mind, then I always tell people that's why you always have a 9 to 5 also, which is not wrong. It's totally respectable. You want your 30 days holiday, you want to just be relaxed. Not relaxed, you're working, but you don't have that continuous stress, then it's perfect. But for me, it has been about creating something. I feel God is being kind and given me the intelligence to be able to create something, so I don't stop trying. Went to Barcelona. I went to rent out my first restaurant, which was a 3,000 euro rent. But in Spain, you have these places which are ready-made. So chairs are there, tables are there, kitchen, everything is ready. But you have to give a deposit. And I remember that time I was struggling for the deposit. I just sold out everything, paid off everyone, went to mainland. And I remember sitting with this old man. Old mans are kind of my friends, Sat with him. I told him, listen, I'm going to pay you, but I'm going to pay you in 6 months. And he was like, fine. I went, got a franchise, which is called Faz's, opened the first restaurant. First night, 120 people. People will be celebrating that. I was crying that day.
Yeah.
Because to serve 120 people in a restaurant, and that to serve them perfectly, it's a task. And it's a big one. You don't have that much help like over here, right? And that broke my fear of handling situations. In what kind of situations? Where it's a good situation, but sometimes good situation also you need to, it gets tough. So that's where I learned that break that fear factor. There is no fear factor. Nothing going to happen. Everything going to happen and everything is going to flow. And suddenly, in all that maniac stress, I could just see dishes flowing and everybody eating and being happy and all that. So from there, I scaled up to 14 restaurants. When I scaled up to 14 restaurants, now I can say what I've learned from my elder brother Vivek Oberoi, roti. Return on time invested wasn't good enough. By the time I was paying my chefs, paying cost of goods and rents and this and that, I was not taking enough back home.
Roti.
Roti.
Return on time invested.
Return on time invested is very important because we don't know what to call it. But sometimes when you're frustrated in life or when you're not waking up with that spark, is because your return on time invested is not satisfying you. So when your return on time invested doesn't satisfy you, it's better you walk away. Because as I told you before, only Ranveer, you're going to only remember this life, hopefully, unless you get into remembering your past lives. And that is when I decided to sell off. And then I came to India. I went for training in jewelry. I went to Surat, learned what is a diamond, what is crystallized diamond, how is it cut, how is it polished. I don't believe in just trading with something. I believe in getting to a nitty-gritty of everything. Like even in restaurant, man, I would make naans, biryanis, everything. I could fire a chef on the spot and take over his place.
Wow.
And then started.
Tiny tangent. What's up in Surat? Then and now.
Surat is the diamond city.
It's one of India's richest cities.
It's one of India's bling cities. It's where all the diamonds are made. I mean, then you have the small towns also making diamonds, but Surat is the diamond city of the world.
Diamond city of the world.
That's what they say. I believe so. Again, I'm not a person to state facts, but they say 90% of the cut and polished diamonds in the world come from Surat.
So the raw diamonds which are mined in Africa or wherever
come to Surat, cut and polish, and then re-exported to the outside world. And I went to Surat, learned everything. And then I developed my first factory in Pune because I like Pune. I think off camera we were speaking about it and I told you, Pune for me is just spiritual. It's just nice. I like waking up at 5 a.m. and hearing what Pune has to tell me. And I developed it. And then the war started, Ukraine and Russia. When Ukraine and Russia war started, there was no natural diamonds. It was crazy. Prices had gone up by 25% and it was just crazy. I think it was an artificial, I would say, shortage because site holders still had, but because people were depending on Alrosa rough, which was the most available rough for small diamonds, it was just a shortage that time.
What's the point of creating the artificial shortage?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. That shortage got fulfilled with De Beers diamonds. Alrosa, for example, went and then the other ones came. But I'm not a very patient person by nature, so I took the next bus and I went to Surat. When I went to Surat, I came across lab-grown diamonds. When I came across lab-grown diamonds, went back to Pune, cut and polished the first 12. They used to come in packs of 12 rough diamonds. And I saw the machineries are being used, everything is being used. So it's perfect. Let me just start that. Sold the diamonds in 10 minutes. Called up my clients. I said, listen, now this is really, really nice diamond. Just see it, unidentifiable to the naked eye. And they were like, wow, we love it. Especially people who don't find jewelry an investment. My customer profiles and the people, my target audience of my brand is people who are not looking for an investment. They're looking at enjoying the jewelry. And of course, they have 100% exchange, which if they get bored of a piece, they come and they change it and they go. So that's how Solitario was born.